Families don't usually break at funerals. They break at probate. Funerals are where everyone plays nice, a fragile piece wrapped in black clothing and folded programs. Probate court? That's where people stop pretending. That's where the money, the property, and the grudges collide. For us, the fracture line wasn't grief. It was greed. It was my father's younger brother, Uncle Rick. 2 weeks after we buried my father, my uncle decided the house Dad built with his own hands was his to sell. He thought nobody would stop him. He thought nobody had the backbone. What he didn't know is that Dad always knew what kind of man his little brother was, so he left behind one clause in his will, one tripwire designed for this exact moment. And when Rick stepped on it, the blast was louder than any eulogy. I'm Sarah, eldest daughter, unofficial caretaker, and, in Dad's eyes, the responsible one. I sat with him through chemo, through paperwork, through nights where the bills felt heavier than the Ford drip. I filed every insurance form. When his hands shook too badly to hold a pen, I held it with him so his signature stayed steady. Rick, my uncle, Dad's younger brother, was always different. He was the family's fun guy. The one who breezed in late, bragged about golf scores, dropped off a bag of brand-name snacks, and disappeared whenever responsibility showed up. He never stuck around long enough to see how tired Dad looked. He was Dad's little brother, but in a lot of ways, Dad treated him like a son who never grew up. Dad bailed him out of bad investments, paid his rent once, even co-signed a loan Rick never repaid. But when Dad passed, suddenly Uncle Rick was Mr. Legacy. He spoke like he was inheriting a company, not honoring a man. 2 weeks later, he decided the house would be sold, without asking anyone. Rick always needed an audience. He wore golf polos like they were armor, leased a BMW he pretended to own, and peppered conversations with business phrases he didn't understand. We need to rebrand the family legacy, he said once, as if grief could be solved with a Canva slideshow. He clinked wine glasses like he was closing a deal. He spoke in absolutes, as if charm was stronger than law. And his favorite line? It's just paperwork. He'd been Dad's younger brother his whole life, leaning on him, testing boundaries, and somehow wriggling out of consequences. But Dad wasn't around to cover for him anymore. That was Rick's blind spot, believing paperwork didn't matter. He was about to learn that paperwork can ruin you. Quick pause before we keep going. If you are listening and not subscribed, kindly tap the subscribe button as it is a way to encourage me to keep creating stories. Now let's continue. Dad wasn't naive. He knew exactly who Rick was. That's why, years earlier, he asked me to sit with him at the lawyer's office. He wanted his will airtight. That's when Clause 6B was born. The family home cannot be sold without unanimous sibling approval. Not majority. Not handshake agreement. Unanimous. Dad underlined the word himself. He looked me in the eye and said, Sarah, don't let him sell what isn't his. Protect the house. I promised I would. And when the time came, I was ready. I had 3 copies in my binder, 2 digital backups, and 1 tucked into Dad's old toolbox. So when Uncle Rick stepped into the role of self-proclaimed family leader, he was walking straight toward the clause Dad had left waiting. It happened at Sunday dinner. We were eating reheated lasagna when Uncle Rick cleared his throat, raised his wine glass, and said, Good news, everyone. The house goes on the market Friday. Already got a couple of offers. Should move fast. My fork froze. My sister blinked at him. My younger brother said, Wait, you already listed it? He grinned. Not officially. But the realtor's eager. This is what Dad would have wanted, no dragging things out. Cash in, move on. My sister shook her head. Uncle Rick, you can't just decide that. We haven't even agreed. Rick cut her off, laughing. Relax. It's just paperwork. I'll handle the signatures later. The table went quiet. My siblings looked to me. I looked at him across the table, not just my uncle, but my father's brother. A man who'd leaned on Dad his whole life, now trying to cash in on the last thing Dad left behind. I didn't argue. I just smiled into my glass and thought, Dad saw this coming. Probate court was already scheduled for Tuesday, 2 p.m. Uncle Rick didn't know it, but his time as self-appointed king was already ticking down. 3 days. That's all it would take for Clause 6B to cut his legs out from under him. Friday night, I found it. Scrolling Zillow, there was Dad's house, photos of the living room, Dad's old recliner still in the corner. The caption read, "Motivated family, quick sale." Timestamp, 11:04 p.m. Uncle Rick hadn't just planned a sale. He'd already listed the house. Without approval. Without legality. Without shame. I screenshotted every angle. Saved the link. Printed the page. Then I sat back and thought about Dad sanding those porch steps himself. Now his legacy was being hawked online like a used car. He had just given me the smoking gun. By Monday, my binder was a fortress of receipts. The will, Clause 6B, highlighted in blue. The text, Rick's message, "Don't worry, I'll handle the signatures later." The listing, Zillow link with realtor's name and timestamp. The emails, realtor bragging about excited buyers. Each page was another nail in Rick's coffin. All I needed was the judge to swing the hammer. Tuesday, 2 p.m. The courtroom smelled like burnt coffee and wood polish. Uncle Rick strutted in late, of course, with his realtor trailing behind him. Blue polo. Fake confidence. The judge, a gray-haired man with half-moon glasses, looked up. "This is the matter of the Miller estate, regarding 1428 Willow Lane." Appearances? Our lawyer stood. Sarah Miller, beneficiary, with counsel. Rick puffed his chest. Richard Miller, beneficiary. "And this is my realtor." The judge frowned. Realtor? This is probate court, not a sales pitch. Rick chuckled nervously. "Well, I like to be proactive." The judge flipped a file. "Mr. Miller, records show the property was listed online last Friday. Is that correct?" Rick shifted. "Just testing interest, Your Honor." "Market research. Did you obtain signatures from all beneficiaries?" Rick hesitated. "I figured we'd sort that later." The judge cut him off. "Yes or no?" Rick swallowed. "No." The judge leaned forward. "Did you read Clause 6B of the will?" Rick tried to laugh. "I skimmed it." "Then let me read it for you," the judge said. He cleared his throat. "The family home cannot be sold without unanimous sibling approval." He closed the file. "Unanimous means all. Do you have unanimous signatures?" Uncle Rick's smile collapsed. "Not yet, but..." The judge turned to me. "Ms. Miller, do you have documentation?" I slid my binder forward. Clause 6B. Highlighted. Plus proof of the premature listing and Rick's text message saying he'd handle the signatures later. The realtor squirmed. "Your Honor, I was misled." The judge snapped. Silence. "You facilitated an unauthorized listing. Consider this a warning." Rick stammered, "But it's just paperwork." The judge's gavel cracked the desk. "It's the law." During recess, Uncle Rick cornered me by the vending machines. His face was red, his polo damp with sweat. "Sarah," he whispered harshly, "just sign off. Please. We'll all get paid. I'll even give you a bigger cut. I'll buy you a new car. Whatever you want." I shook my head. "It's not about money, Uncle Rick. It's about Dad's wishes." He sneered. Dad hated wasting time. He'd want us to move fast. I opened my binder, pointed to the highlighted line. Dad wanted unanimous approval. That's his voice on the page. Not yours. His eyes darted. You think you're better than me? No, I said calmly. I think I actually read the will. When recess ended, the judge wasted no time. Based on the evidence, the Zillow listing is unauthorized and hereby void. Any attempt to sell the property without unanimous signatures will be treated as contempt of court. Rick's mouth opened, but no sound came. His realtor looked ready to evaporate. The judge wasn't finished. Furthermore, this court notes reckless conduct on the part of Mr. Miller. You jeopardized the estate with premature action. Consider this your one and only warning. Our lawyer turned to me, lips twitching into a smile. Excellent documentation, Sarah. I gathered my papers slowly, calmly. Rick stormed up muttering about betrayal and family politics. His footsteps echoed louder than his words. That night, I sat on the porch Dad built with his own hands. The wood creaked under my chair, the evening air smelled like cut grass, and for the first time in weeks, the house felt safe again. My siblings joined me one by one. My brother handed me a mug of coffee. My sister whispered, "Thank you. I didn't know what we'd do without you." I didn't need thanks. Dad already gave me his trust. Meanwhile, Rick posted a Facebook rant, "Greedy siblings. Toxic family politics. Betrayal runs deep." His friends left pity comments. A few even tagged memes. I didn't reply. I didn't post. Because sometimes silence is the loudest revenge. Dad's claws had spoken for me. And Rick? He'd learned the hard way that you can't outsmart a man who planned for your betrayal years in advance. Subscribe, or I'll notarize your Netflix account.